heart is a blue.
Hey now, this is Dr. Eddie Weller.
And Lisa Jenkins.
This is Getting Weller on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. And how are you today, Lisa?
I am doing awesome. I am so pumped up from the weekend.
Because you became possible this weekend, just as I did.
We did.
It was the Getting Weller event just was hosted, and we had a blast. It was a mini event. It was a 4-hour event about really breaking people's state of what they're holding on to and letting go of their yesterday. And
what was your
awesome.
favorite part of the event?
Golly, where do I start? I think there were 2 people in that event. As I watched, there's 2 different women that didn't know each other, sit on opposite sides. That when we did this whole team up thing, when we did the name tags, one of the things we did at this event is we talked about when people talk behind your back. And when people talk behind your back, what do you want to be known for? And literally, not your first name. What do you want to be known for? So we had everybody write a word on the name tag and then team up with somebody they didn't know. And I watched these 2 women just lock eyes, and they were probably 15, 20 years apart from one another, and just lock eyes and kind of did a high five and turned around and put each other's sticker on their back. And because we had everybody put their name tags, and it wasn't their name, of course, it was that word on their back. So as you're sitting down in the crowd, as you're looking at everybody's backs, looking to the front of the room, you get to see loving, serving, caring, gifted. That's what people are talking behind your back about.
Well, and everybody was on their feet, and it was just the most exciting moment. It was like, was that the first activity that we did?
Pretty close. I'm trying to remember. The first one was our goofy when I came out in my onesie and pajamas.
You really did.
Yeah.
What was the music? Can you give us a little taste? And glow sticks. That was great. You were just hopping across the floor, and everybody was up on their feet with glow sticks dancing. It was phenomenal.
We were shaking it. And say yes, yes. And everybody was just having a ball and waking up on purpose. But I think the stickers was a lot of fun, but ultimately for me was the board breaking. That was it for me. It was the board break. We did this board breaking exercise and have people write their different pains and frustration and all these things in their yesterday that they're holding on to.
And those boards were full. I don't know about you, because I know that you were very busy up at the front and you were talking and you were doing your thing. But as you were talking, so many people were just filling those boards out. I mean, there was a few people who had their boards filled out front and back, even the sides. I mean, and it was just stupid. I mean, so we need to tell listeners what they put on the board.
Right.
You want to give them a little
Sure. Oh,
idea?
when she meant stupid, stupid was actually written on
the board.
Several people's boards. That was a big one. A lot of stupid, lazy,
fat, ugly.
Yeah.
So what they were doing was they were letting go of things that people have said about them.
Yep. The hurtful things, even the things that maybe they have said about others.
Yes.
It was about starting over, and I think ultimately is bringing it back to God. When we had everybody light a candle about who they were, and lighting a candle in remembrance of their old self is a big deal.
And those candles stayed lit the entire event.
Yeah, it's just a big deal.
It was.
And it was just awesome. So becoming possible is possible, and so this is why we have to have another event. There's just no doubt.
A lot of tears were shed, a lot of laughs. It was an emotional day. It was such a good day.
It was a half day, but boy, it's people like, I know this person, I know that person. There's so many different people, including you, listener. If you're sitting right now and you're in the car or you're at work and going, how did I not hear about this event? Or why didn't I go to this event? Or what did it cost to go to this event? I mean, it's so many people have questions. So there's going to be more and more videos and kind of teasers, if you will, about the event that are coming on up. They're being edited right now because we videoed it, including me in my pajamas.
That's right.
So people get to see that.
Wait, yeah.
So it was just an awful lot of fun. It was,
and I can't wait for the next one. I know that it will be another packed house, and we're going to do so many amazing things. And we had a blast. I mean, from the bags to the notebooks to everything that was. I mean, everything about it was just perfect.
It was,
and seeing the people's faces as they were walking in and out and not knowing what to expect, and then what happened. And we seen lives transform that day.
Yeah.
We seen so many breakthroughs. We seen breakthroughs from people after they left that event, and they were calling us and saying, wow, I didn't even think about this until after I left the event. I mean, I haven't thought about this in years, and it's something that hinders me. It's something that I need to let go, and they're moving forward. They're transforming their life. I mean, you can't, in life, that's what we're all about with Getting Weller, is what is your pain? Yes, or not what we're all about. I mean, we have a lot of things that Getting Weller stands for, but one of the major things is, what is in your yesterday that is keeping you from doing all the things that you want to do today and tomorrow?
Right. How do you redefine your dash?
Right now, how are you embracing your moments? How are you embracing the time of your life? Are you so focused on all of those things? I mean, come on, Dr. Weller, somebody calls you fat or ugly or chatty Cathy or all of those things, and it affects your life right now.
And what's even interesting about that is somebody we don't even know could say that to us. Maybe it's a friend or family member says, boy, you look fat, you look this, and you can kind of blow it off, if you will. But if somebody you don't know or somebody on Facebook puts a post up and you don't even know this person and says, look at this person's doing this, it owns us.
It does. And that chatty Cathy, and I will be vulnerable for a minute because it goes back to several years ago for me. I was sitting in an office. I was working my butt off selling life insurance. And here I am with a client that walks in the door, and I'm just being passionate about life because, as you know, that's the kind of person that I am. Sure. And he looks at me and he goes, wow, chatty Cathy, when are you going to shut your mouth? And I was like, I have never forgot that.
Yeah.
I felt so small, and it just made me feel, I can't even, I don't know why I hold on to that. Why you hold on to those little things like that people say.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's necessarily holding on to it. We're holding on to the pain or emotion that we felt from that experience.
That's right.
It's
exactly
like when you
right.
see something bad. Isn't it interesting? Remember 8 years ago, we were together and we saw that one car accident and it was, remember? And we knew all the things that was wrong with that, but you can't think about all the good things that happened that week, 8 years ago.
That's right.
We can always remember what's wrong.
Dr. Phil talks about that. He talks about you'll remember the bullet points of your life, the negative bullet points in your life. We have all these years of things that happened in our lifetime, and yet we only remember the bullet points. I can give you a bullet point list of all the things that happened in my life, and I don't care about all the in-between stuff.
Yep. And then sooner or later, it boils over. Mm-hmm. We're overwhelmed. We've got all of this because the only thing we look around and see is negative.
That's right.
There was somebody on Facebook that we were talking about today, and all she posts are negative, different news blasts and this and that. And I said, Leisa, and we're friends with this person, I got to unfriend her. Click.
That's right.
I have to. I kind of keep those weeds out of my garden.
That's right. And even us as human beings, we all have those points in our life. It's like we deal with things on certain levels. Everybody deals with things differently. I mean, yesterday, take me for instance, and I will put myself out there and I will throw myself under the bus and in the fire. I had a bit of an emotional day yesterday. Not anything specifically wrong or things. It's just a buildup of emotions, mostly excitement from the event and feeling other people's pain and dealing with certain clients. And it's like, whew, okay, I need to come down. So I went into your office, and being the awesome coach for me that you are, you said, okay, what's up? And I said, I just need to talk for a few minutes and shed some stuff. And you let me, and then you gave me an adjustment, and I had just an amazing rest after that, an hour. I even told you, I said, that was, and you can fill our listeners in with what you do and what that means, what the adjustment means.
Maybe we'll do that next segment.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. People are probably going, what is she even talking about? But it is such an emotional release because we all have those build up inside of us that we have to let go. Even me being a coach, even you being a doctor, even anybody. I mean, how do we release that? And I told you yesterday that was the most incredible adjustment that I've had since I've known you. Yeah. And you came and checked on me like 3 times to get me up. And you were like, Leisa, you were so peaceful. You were resting. Usually my head doesn't stop.
Your feet are fidgeting,
and I don't stop thinking, and I never relax. I just lay there, and I'm like, when's he going to come get me? And yesterday I wasn't like that. I was like, wow, I really needed this.
Just to be in my space.
I just needed to chill.
And so when do you take time, anybody, that 10 minutes, we talked about the event, when do you take 10 minutes of the day of nothing? I called it nothingness. You are sitting in absolute silence. No phone, no computer, nothing's on. You're by yourself. Solitude for 10 whole minutes a day. It could be in the car. Heck, it could be in the bathroom. It is just sitting quiet. I say bathroom because there's a lot of moms and dads are at home and they got kids running around like they know exactly where I'm at, but we all know bathroom is privacy area. So I need privacy, door shuts. That's how we do it in my house.
Can you come to my house and tell my family that?
Oh, yeah, we do privacy. Yeah.
Grady breaks my door down. Mama! Get out!
But the point is when do you take that time? And I think at the office, people really enjoy to be able to escape there. There's a quiet area where people can lay down and rest. There's quiet music. It's done in movie theater drywall, so it's really sound deadening. It's dark. The room is dark. The ceiling's painted black. It's just really quite comfortable.
Can we go into that the next segment? Let's talk a little bit more about the office and the environment and what happens when you go to the Atlas Institute.
Let's do that.
You are listening to Getting Weller with Leisa Jenkins.
And Dr. Eddie Weller.
We'll be right back.
We are back. This is Dr. Eddie Weller.
And Leisa Jenkins.
And we are talking about getting Weller and the lifestyle of letting go and purpose and being and all the other things that we always talk about.
Yeah, we started out talking about the event and what that entailed and what we did a little bit. And it was all about letting go and yesterday's pain and just a lot of activities. It was just a lot of fun. I even danced a little bit. Did you catch that?
I did.
Wow. I was like,
just like our little promo video. You kind of bobbed your head and shook it a little bit.
I did it. I was clapping. I was hugging people. We were having a great time.
I think you're just more excited because, again, the pajamas I was shaking.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That was, I wish that I would have gotten a picture of you in those pajamas.
Nobody took a pic.
You know what I was doing? I was so busy trying to figure out how to turn my glasses on.
Oh, jeez.
It was dark in that room, Doc. I was like,
what she means by glasses on, we had glasses that we put on, their sunglasses with their LED lights around them. They're flashing.
Yeah.
And when they flash at night, in our promo video, you can see those. And we're going to have to put that up there.
We are.
Just to show
a lot
everybody.
Of fun.
I think one of the things that we all take for granted is the functioning of our body. Mm-hmm. And we say, what kind of food's good for me, doc? Or what kind of cleanser? What would you pray with me? Would you? Sure. But those are all the things you have control over.
And those things don't matter if your body's not functioning properly.
Exactly. So what about the things you don't have control over? I was thinking this morning about how many times your heart beats a day, what I was thinking about it, and then how many gallons of water are flushed through our bladder, but how many gallons of blood is pumped through our heart. We never really think about it. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting here conversating right now with the assumption of, our body's working the right way. Well, what are we doing to make sure whatever the Houston control, if you will, that's keeping us alive is working, which is the nerve system. And so without the nerve system working the right way, how do you know? So there was a lady that came in the office yesterday. She brought her daughter, and her mom just so happened to catch a video. Oh, and I'm going to have to show this to you. Mom just so happened to catch a video of them in the backyard on the trampoline. And she's like, Mom, look, I can do a backflip. Well, her second backflip, she back and snapped, and you see her neck snap. And she's holding her low back. This girl's 10 or 11 years old, and she's ow, 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 and then she stops the front. It was a perfect catch of watching what a whiplash looks like on a trampoline. I have it on my phone. I'll show it to you. It's unbelievable. I think I might have to post it.
Do your kids get on a trampoline?
No, we have the rebounders at home, the little one.
Okay.
The big trampoline, they're itching for one. But, no. I'm just thinking, when ever in life would we ever bounce
Brady
on
loves the trampoline.
Everybody loves the trampoline.
I mean, he flips around on that thing like crazy. Wow, he probably should come see you.
Yeah, totally. Well, everybody loves the trampoline. Yeah. Last time I got real quick trampoline tangent, I got in trouble with a bunch of parents that I was playing with all these kids, and they're teenagers in their backyard. They're like, Dr. Eddie, come on over and jump. I'm like, okay. So I go on over and jump, and they have that safety net. Mm-hmm. So I'm jumping, and I jump up and over the safety net.
Oh.
Well, great. That's what you want to teach our kids, to jump over the safety net, Dr. Eddie? So that didn't go over too well. I wasn't invited back to jump on the trampoline again.
I can't imagine you not getting invited back.
Owen calls me a millennia. So it's one of those things where you're never, you can hear me right now and you can see me. Mm-hmm. They can't. But you can see me, and your body's digesting food, and some people's hair is growing. Fingernails are growing, and your stomach's making a new lining right now as we speak, and your liver's regenerating cells, and your bones are growing new tissue, and your eyes. It's on and on and on. And so when I talk about, in the previous segment, Lisa talked about the adjustment. Mm-hmm. The adjustment we're referring to is finding a neurologic compromise in the spine and making a specific adjustment to the spine. The vertebrae that I'm referring to is the atlas vertebrae. It's the vertebrae that rests just below your skull. And when that vertebrae we call subluxates, which means misaligns, it compromises the nerve system, and you can't feel that. So you can only
feel it, but I can imagine you looking at me in the office yesterday as I'm, being who I was. You're probably going, she must be subluxated.
She must be subluxated. Something's wrong with this girl.
What's going on?
And sometimes we get hormonal. Sometimes we get emotional out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get depressed. Me, I had irritable bowel, right, as a teenager. So everybody has their own different kind of symptoms. And with those symptoms, what are you doing to make sure that the body's working the right way? So chiropractic isn't necessarily a treatment of anything. And when you hear the word chiropractic, what do you think of? What do you, Leisa, typically think of?
Adjusting my spine. What I think of is somebody laying on me with their knee, twisting my body.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I call it kickstarting a Harley. When they lay you on your side and right, you hear that crunch. And the beauty of what we do at the Atlas Institute is that there isn't any twisting, popping, snapping, or cracking. It's quite gentle. Mm-hmm. Most of the cases that we see are organic kind of cases where there's high blood pressure or diabetes, or there's cancers and tumors, depression. Sometimes we see, people with low back pain or neck pain, even though, it's not that I would ever deny those people that are coming on in. But most of the time when people have a musculoskeletal issue, which is, again, back pain, neck pain, knee pain, there's other things going on that they haven't been really told about. Because most of us go to a doctor, and when you go to see the doctor, what's the doctor say? Doctor says, what brings you in today? And then what do? You tell him or her all your symptoms. And then with those symptoms, they perform tests. And with that test, they get data.
Not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just call him on the phone and go, my child's running a fever and he's pulling on his ear. Great, I'll call in an antibiotic.
Unbelievable. It's so true. It happened twice yesterday to two different clients in the office.
It happens.
That's nauseating to me.
I mean, I have 4 kids, and we grew up around that. I mean, I haven't, way before I knew you. I mean, that's how we lived. That's how we thought the normal was. The guy with a white jacket is the right one. I mean,
but you make a phone. Whatever happened to the doctor? One time, the doctor went to your house. Now, when you go to the doctor and you tell him all the symptoms, you get drugs. So am I lacking that? It's like, God, I have such a headache right now. I need a Tylenol. Am I lacking Tylenol? Is that why I have a headache? Am I lacking Pepto? Is that why I have a stomach ache? Am I lacking chemo? Is that why I have cancer? Of course not. So something along the lines of, if the problem comes from the inside, so must the answer to that problem. But where is the answer, and what is the answer? You can live without an artery or without a vein for a short period of time. You can live without a muscle, a bone. You can't live without a nerve. Life lives in the nerves. And when the nerves are compromised, sooner or later, one of those organs or several of them will begin to shut down. And people say, oh, did you hear so-and-so? They were so healthy, and then all of a sudden they just got diagnosed or they just died of this. We consider in this country, not only this, I guess in the world, if you don't have any symptoms, you are said to be healthy. Males are notorious for this. Males are like, oh, I'm fine. And all of a sudden I got to get my leg cut off. That's all right. Cut it off so I can go back to work. Women are more the, proactive people. And because, women typically make the healthcare decisions of the home because men are awful at it. Men are reactive. Women tend to be a little bit more on the proactive side. And so there was a lady asking me yesterday, what do you think about mammograms? Mm-hmm. I had one this morning. I says, why did you have one this morning? And she said, well, I have one every year. I says, because? She goes, well, I want to make sure that there isn't any cancer. So a mammogram's going to prevent you from having cancer? No, mammogram detects if you have it. What are you doing to make sure you don't get it? That's
right. We get caught up in the prevention and the detecting.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so where's the fine line with that? I mean, how do you... Because that's what we do. We wait till we're 50 years old until it's time to get a mammogram, and then we're
when you're 45, you need prostate tech.
Now what? I mean, right. What did we do to prevent that from happening? So how do we prevent that?
How do you do that? What's interesting is YouTube, or go to Google and type in birth trauma, and see what it looks like when a child is born, when they're pulling and yanking and twisting on the head.
Grady, when I was pregnant with Grady, 3 hours of pushing and his head never came down. And they were pulling, they were twisting me, they were sitting on my leg. I mean, they were doing everything. Could you imagine what that child went through?
And that's exactly what I mean by in the beginning of the segment, how we take things for granted. Oh, here comes the baby. Oh, the baby's fine. The baby's out. Woo, it's breathing on its own. Everything's good. Well, how do you know it's good?
Yeah. Lost his heartbeat twice. I mean, they were, almost called C-section 3 times. I mean, imagine a child going through all of that.
Right.
Before they even enter the world.
And now there's a neurologic issue. If there's a heartbeat issue, just like you mentioned, then there's a nerve going to the heart, several of them. And as that nerve's going to the heart, there's a compromise, a short circuit, if you will, to that heart. I was fortunate enough where I was able to deliver both of my children. Well, nobody pulled on their heads.
And what my mind thinks is when a baby comes out and their head is so, is just, what was the word?
Well, it's misshapen and soft.
Yes, but it's very sensitive. You have to be very careful with the child. So if the baby comes out and you have to be very careful with that child moving its head in different positions and making sure that you hold it properly and making sure that you take all these precautions and then what about when it comes out? Who's protecting his head then? That might sound like a silly question.
There's usually two fingers that wrap around both sides of the skull, and they're pulling. And they pull and yank to get that baby out of there, and you're tractioning the spine. And you ever notice that the entire spine, you don't have to hold the baby's back. You only have to hold the head. The head flops around, not the back.
That's the word I was looking for, flops. Yeah, right.
So the head's just flopping around. You have to support that and cradle that head so it doesn't fall, because they don't have the muscle structure you have to engage to hold up the head. And so the atlas vertebrae, as it rests underneath there, is what's kind of cradling the skull. How do you know that atlas vertebrae is in a proper position? Even as a parent, as you're sitting in a car right now, or go to a classroom, or go to work, look at everybody's head sitting in one ear's higher than the other, one shoulder's higher than the other. Some people cross their legs, one leg over the other. Some of you are sitting on one butt cheek, if you will, over the other, right? And so one person has a wallet on one side, and men say it all the time. Oh, the wallet doesn't bother me. What do you mean it doesn't bother you? I keep it in my back pocket all the time. Good. So take it out of your back pocket and put it on the other side. What's the difference? If it doesn't bother you, then put it on the other butt cheek. It will drive you crazy because your body has adapted to that force. And so we just take it for granted. And so I want to make sure as your doctor that I have an instrument that I run up your spine, and your spine comes onto the computer screen. I'll know neurologically if there is or is not a compromise in your spine. Every single time somebody goes to a chiropractor, they get their spine manipulated or adjusted. That's a problem to me because it's like going to the dentist saying, oh, I really hope I have a cavity. Or going to your MD says, please, blood pressure, be high. You don't want those gauges to be, you don't want to have anything wrong with you. You don't want to go to a chiropractor and get your spine adjusted. That's everything opposite of every chiropractor that's out there.
But people want things to happen right now. They want to feel better right now.
You took 9 months to be born.
That's right.
Right? It took 9 months to make you, so it takes some time to fix you. And so when people, I want to make sure neurologically that if the systems work in the right way, the power that made us will heal us. That power lives in the spine. And so this is why we do Monday night orientations. Come for Monday night, typically at 7 o'clock. There's no charge. I do a 20 to 30-minute orientation, then an office tour, and then people sign up for x-rays and a neurologic exam. I usually offer a discount for those people that come for that. So it's just great. So if you're on the fence and you're not sure, go to gettingweller.com. Check out what we're about. And it's all about transforming lives from the inside out.
Yeah, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this topic and just more discussion about overall health.
Keep your head on straight. You are listening to Getting Weller
with Leisa Jenkins
and Dr. Eddie Weller. And don't you just love that music?
I do.
Don't lie to me. She's actually not a fan of it. I'll be real honest with you.
I did all right with it at the event. Stuff? I thought it was great.
At the event is great. Yeah. Usually it's like the car broke down. I got a big frown. I got to go to town. That's usually what you're listening to.
Not even close. I can't stand country music. Not a country music fan at all.
You're a South County SoCo girl.
No.
So we led in with that music because one, I move it and shake it. In my family, we dance to that music.
He does really.
I do. And that was the music at the event. That was the beginning music that I shook it in my pajamas.
And boy, it got people pumped.
I was shaking it like a Polaroid picture.
You were.
It was just
you really were.
I bet half this audience. Owen, do you know what a Polaroid picture is? Oh, okay, good. He's shaking his hand. So last segment, we were talking about the upper cervical care, the aspect of what I do. I'm in the chiropractic field. There's over, believe it or not, just about 2,000 different type of chiropractors. So who's right? One isn't better than the other. One isn't more right, if you will, than the other. They just offer a different type of service. So when you go to an attorney, typically when you look for an attorney, what kind of attorney you're looking for? You're looking for one that has their own specialty in their niche. So when you say, I'm a lawyer, really, what practice do you have? That's your niche. That's the exact same question that somebody would ask, even to church. Oh, I go to church. Really? What kind of church do you go to? Because their own niche of Christianity. It's the same thing in chiropractic. What kind of chiropractor do you go to? Ones that does acupuncture or physical therapy or wellness or treatment or personal injury or on and on. And I'm an upper cervical chiropractor, which means the upper cervical spine in your neck. It's called the cervical spine. I work with the top two vertebrae, more specifically the atlas vertebrae, as it's the only freely movable vertebrae and it surrounds the brainstem. But once the nerve system's working, then what? Once we get it in check, then what? Can you go sit on a couch and flip channels and grow, sick and old and lay in there?
Oh, you can.
Yeah, sure.
Life's about choices.
Yep. Or you can say, no, I'm going to move it or I lose it. I'm going to lose my life because either you're growing or you're dying.
Right.
And so now when the nerve system's working the right way, I start working out. Well, what kind of workout is good for me? I'll whisper it to you. The one you enjoy.
That's right.
See how easy that is?
Yep.
It's like, how much water should I drink? Drink until...
your urine runs clear.
Wow, you didn't even say pee today. You came around from last show.
I almost did.
You did, too. I saw your lips quivering. I was waiting for her to say that. Oh, that is hysterical. But common sense stuff.
Right. We get several questions from clients every day. Where do I start? What do I do? I mean, it all seems so overloading to people.
Yeah.
Here you got Leisa who works with thoughts, who will sit down and coach you through life and give you accountability and purpose and who are you and what do you want out of life? And we talk about goals and passions and just life in general. But then you have the whole nutrition aspect and where do I start? What do I do? Do I start exercising? What am I going to eat? Is it okay to go to McDonald's? Is it okay to drink soda and aspartame and all of those things? And you get those questions quite often.
I get them every single day. And what's interesting about that is instead of telling people what I think, because I didn't make you, what I think you should do, I just simply say eliminate the bad. Don't stop anything else right now. Just eliminate the bad. So stay away from that bread, the pasta, and dairy. Try that for 2-3 weeks and see how easy it is.
And it's such a simple, it sounds like it can be so hard. Are you serious? I can't have pasta. I can't have bread. I can't have dairy. Everybody thinks about I can't have. I haven't had, thank goodness, I haven't had pasta or dairy or any of that for 3 months or so.
What's wrong with pasta?
I'm addicted to pasta. It's my favorite food in the entire universe.
Well, why?
Why is it my favorite food? Really? Because it's yummy.
Okay.
And I grew up on it.
And it's all sugar.
Okay.
Pasta carbohydrates converted into sugar. Sugar, there's the addiction. Sugar has a stronger addiction than cocaine.
But here's the thing. I don't miss it. I haven't missed it. I haven't craved it. And if I do, if the kids have pizza or we have a special night and we don't do gluten-free, I take a bite of their pizza and I'm done.
Right.
I don't think about how I'm depriving myself. So many people, our thoughts are, well, I'm depriving myself and I can't. Are you serious? I can't have soda? Do you want to live?
But soda's not going to kill you per se, but depending on what kind you have.
Yes.
Right. So
that's why you're here.
There's an interesting reason why you go to the Coca-Cola plant and the truck that's pulling into the Coca-Cola plant has skull and crossbones on it because of the phosphoric acid. Why would you do that and put that? You wouldn't drink phosphoric acid, but let's just mix it with sugar and caramel color.
Well, you sent me a picture of a box of cereal. What's in the cereal? I was blown out of the water. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
What was in the cereal?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the kind of cereal it was. Do you remember the type of cereal it was?
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms. Boy, is it lucky. You're lucky if you survive. That's why they call it Lucky Charms, I think. And so it's the reason that is trisodium phosphate is the cleaning agent. And people use it as a cleaning agent to clean metals and that kind of thing. And what's interesting, you clean metals and you do that, this triphosphate, this cleaning product, helps the metal, it gets rid of any oxidation and really prepares it for painting. So it kind of erodes some of the yuck, if you will, on the metal.
Yum.
That is an ingredient inside of Lucky Charms. I don't make this up, people. Read the box.
That's right.
So, and when I see that and I'm looking at it, trisodium phosphate, why would I put a cleaning agent in my child's cereal? So here's my thing. Besides me being king of conspiracy, but here's my thing. One of the things that I always focus on is something called an empty calorie. This is why I say no bread, no pasta, no dairy. Because with those, typically they're empty calories or they're mucus forming or they bloat you. But empty calories are dangerous, which means when I mean by empty calorie, nutritionally speaking, there's just about nothing in it. So when you eat that big bowl of pasta and say, oh my gosh, this tastes so good, and you go, gosh, and you're burping like crazy, pasta doesn't taste good by itself. You always have to add something to it. Mm-hmm. Butter, salt, marinara, something. It's kind of like shrimp or lobster or crab. Bottom feeders. They don't taste good until you add something to it. Marinara sauce, right? The cocktail sauce or butter on the lobster, those kind of things. It doesn't taste good. Fry it. It's how it's prepared. It's not the food itself. When food can be left alone and still taste good, you're getting nutrition from it typically.
Well, and that is, I'm a dipper, so I love sauce on everything. I always have. I've always been like that. And it's interesting that the last 3 months, I haven't had that. I mean, I've changed from pasta to quinoa. I've just done little things like that, and I am in love with quinoa. I could eat that every night and be satisfied with it.
What is quinoa? Does everybody know what quinoa? Quinoa is a grain, and it's a grain with a bunch of protein. Mm-hmm. And so grain with a protein metabolized, it's just great for you.
Well, and the quinoa can be made in several different ways. I mean, you can use organic chicken broth instead of water, or beef broth, or vegetable broth. I put organic mustard in mine, and it's so yummy. But
did you say mustard?
I do. I love mustard in my quinoa. I do. But then there's garlic, and there's just different things that you can do with it to
Can we
jazz
take a break?
it up.
I need to go to the restroom right now.
But then there's other things. There's spinach noodles. There's different things
there's options that people
phenomenal.
don't know. Right.
There is. There's tons of options out there.
And most people say, well, I can't afford to eat organic. Mm-hmm. You know, organic simply means, and it's just a tainted word, chemical free. That's all that means. Mm-hmm. So if you can, even if it's not organic, look at the word natural. And that word natural is really, heroin's natural. So you really have to pay attention to what natural is. But it comes down to label reading. If you look at a label, here, I drank a juice this morning. I bought at TJ's, Trader Joe's. And so I have this juice, and I'm looking at cold pressed juice, the one that you gagged on in the aisle. Yes. Yeah, that one.
I did.
And so it's because you're acidic and toxic. So what I'm looking for is the ingredients. The ingredients to this is beets, cucumbers, celery, apples, carrots, spinach, ginger. Period. That's it. That's the juice of each one of those. Phenomenal. So I know that I fueled my body. There aren't any empty calories here. Beets are phenomenal for your blood. Great for your blood. It fuels the blood.
So we're talking about fueling the body instead of just feeding the body.
Yes.
We're fueling the body with exercise, with thoughts, with influencers. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
We call it the trilogy.
And that's
Let's
all
bring up the
getting
trilogy
weller. When we're talking about, and when we're can we do that in the next segment?
The trilogy of health?
Yes.
Let's do that.
And what getting weller, and that's so important for people to understand, is getting weller is just a concept to get weller in your life. It's
about moving forward, and it's a lifestyle of moving forward, of letting go of a yesterday, striving on having healthy relationships, both with your friends, family, and yourself, more importantly, God.
Yeah, fueling your body, fueling your mind, your heart, your soul. Connect your head and your heart with the things that matter in life, with the people in your life, with the food that you're putting in your body. And I can just keep going on, and we need to take a break. So when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation and go more into the trilogy of health.
You are listening to Dr. Eddie Weller
and Leisa Jenkins.
We are getting weller. This is Dr. Eddie Weller.
And Leisa Jenkins.
We are talking about fueling the life source and fueling our bodies right now.
On every level.
On every level. And during this break, we should just let it roll all the way through commercials, but I don't think they'd be too happy with us.
We really should. We were talking about so much stuff, from shoes to fueling your body with everything.
Shaking it and dancing, and that's how we roll here.
That is.
And what's interesting is fueling the body, most people think of it as food. Mm-hmm. But you can fuel your body with relationships. How many times you feel filled? Or when we go to church, right? We go to the crossing and down here, and wcrossing.org is where we go to church, and you leave filled. You're fueling the body spiritually. You're fueling it with a love and a friendship. You're fueling it with food. You're fueling it with your nerve system.
Do you think it starts with figuring out what's missing from your life? I mean, one of the things that I do when I sit down with people in my office is, okay, let's figure out what in your wheelhouse is missing. You know, what is it? A lot of people say, I just don't know what I want to do in life. I don't know where my passion is, or I'm missing this in my relationship, or I'm missing that, or I feel like I'm overeating, and it's like all those things compiled into one.
So it's kind of like, where are you starving?
Yeah, where are you starving? Now let's fuel it. We figured it out. We figured out the missing link. Yeah. Now what can we do to get you there? Because once you complete that circle and you feel whole in every single area of your life, that's when your passion starts bleeding.
Yes, completely. And what happens is when you hit the nail on the head, when you are whole, if you will, you live in the now.
Yes.
You're in present time conscious. So you don't worry about what happened, what I did yesterday. It doesn't matter. I'm filled now of that. That void is no longer present. So I'm present now. I am one now.
And that doesn't mean that the world stops turning. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen. The kids are going to run a fever. You're going to get a flat tire. You're going to have things come up financially.
A class.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
you
such
might
is life.
have emotional outbursts.
Sure.
I mean, it's just that balance.
Yeah.
This whole balance thing that we're taught and that's posted online and all these blogs and books about balance and how you balance your life, I believe that balance is about one thing, an attitude. What attitude are you going to have towards life? What attitude are you going to have towards yourself? Because if you have a great attitude about life and about yourself, then you're in balance, because whatever comes your way, you can handle.
I agree. And at the event, we talked about raising your standards. Something that hit me, it's statitude. It's like a new word. Raise your standards so you have a proper attitude. Statitude. I might have to coin that.
I love it. Yeah.
Because you are who you are. I can't change you. You can't change you. It's just who you are internally, outside of physically. Ignore a physical world, finances and all that stuff. Innately, you are who you are. You've been dealt a hand, and it's up to you and how you want to play it. And you can say, oh, my hand's awful. I don't have as good a hand as you do, or I'm just going to do the best I have. You know, when people play poker even, it doesn't matter what you have, because you don't know what I have if we're playing cards. It's how I play it.
That's right.
That's that thing called life. I might live 50 years, 80 years, or 120 years. But until I know however long I'm going to live every day as if this was my last.
One of the things that just kind of popped in my head as you're talking is, you know, smokers, they'll say something like, well, I'm going to die of something.
I know.
So I might as well keep smoking. You know? Really?
Yeah.
You're going to put yourself in the line of fire?
Know what I usually tell them? I said, then walk across the street without looking. And if you're going to die of something, might as well make it quick. Smoking's painful. I mean, you're laying in hospital.
What a way to look at life. Yeah. I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well fill my lungs with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to die anyway, so why even try? I'm going to die anyway, so why not eat this entire piece of pizza? It just goes on and on. I mean, we sat down with clients. I was clients yesterday. I can't do this. I can't get myself to go to bed on time. I can't get to work early. I can't wash my face.
So then what do we do? We say, okay, stop. What can you do?
Yes.
Find that one thing you can do. It's so easy to find fault. We talk about, again, that car accident we saw 8 years ago, and we talked about earlier.
I'm lazy. I'm a procrastinator. I'm stupid. All those things that other people have given you, and you're calling yourself that now.
This is why we did that board exercise at the event. Right? When people got to sit down in quiet time, soft music's playing, and they got to write down on this board, 12-inch by 12-inch board, 3/4 of an inch thick pine board, about what they find the can't or lack in their life, something not good enough. We talk about this thing called a tree, this tree of life that we've referred to at Getting Well Areas. And sooner or later, by raising your standards, you have to trim some branches, prune, if you will.
You do.
And it's hard to prune.
You have
because
to move
what are people going to think about me?
And let the sun shine.
Well, the cloud's going to move sooner or later. Right? We can't control the cloud. That's that thing in life that we can't control. The clouds are always going to be there, and then sooner or later,
but
they're going to move out of the way.
Some people permanently have a cloud over their head because they're always thinking negative. They're always thinking, I'm a procrastinator, I have a disease, my body's not functioning properly. Like, people really use that. My body's not functioning properly. But they think all these things. I can't eat right. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do next. That cloud's there. You have to physically move it and let that sun in and start thinking positive things in your life. He's thinking, oh boy, the wheels are turning.
I don't know if I'm with you on that. I think of the cloud of something that focusing on what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like watching the weather and say, oh, even though it's sunny today, you see what this weekend, it looks awful. And it hasn't even happened yet.
That's
right.
right.
We're already projecting what's going to go wrong.
90% of the things that we worry about never even happen.
At all. And worrying is like praying for what you don't want.
Right.
That's what worrying is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, worrying is like praying for what you don't want.
That's right.
So, and when you worry is the stage between our hope. Right? When I say, I hope this can happen. I hope that can happen. That's fear mode.
It's a wish.
It is a wish. And hope's the stage between fear and worry.
Mm-hmm.
So stop it. Right now, stop it.
That's right.
Well, when I think of pruning the branches, how many times have we have people in our life, including family members, that we say, boy, I don't know if I should be talking to this person. I don't know if I need this person in my life anymore, at least not for right now. And so I need to prune my branches, prune this person away from me, unfriend them, if you will, virtually if you have to do that, and just say...
I did that yesterday. I was so proud.
And it's hard.
It is.
It's hard even unfriend, because know what? People don't know when you get unfriended,
mm-hmm.
but when they look you up, it says, oh, click to add friend. Like,
I did that yesterday.
Hello, when did you unfriend me? Oh, like
right.
8 months ago, did you not? So it's those kind of things to where you just go, I have to take care of me in order to take care of others. Because if I don't take care of myself, and it may sound selfish, but I am the most important person in the world. Lisa, you are the most important person.
Right.
You have to look at yourself as that way. Because if you're sick or something's wrong with you, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, how are you supposed to serve anybody else that you care about? You can't.
You are no good to anybody else unless you're taking care of yourself.
Unless you're getting weller.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
if you're not moving forward and getting weller with the things that you find lack in your life, focus on what's right with you, not what's wrong with you. We always talk about focus on the flowers, not the weeds.
That's right.
Right, in our garden. But who put the flowers there? We did. We planted the good things in our life. But who put the weeds there? Not us. That's that thing called life. Mm-hmm. And so you can choose to say, know what, I'm going to concentrate on the weeds and pour me, and you're taking away from my life, from my soil, or I'm going to pull that weed, unfriend you in my life.
And I'm going to move on. And I'm going to let go.
Because I am who I am. Mm-hmm. I am that tree that is planted, and get out of my space.
One thing that I talk to the students about quite often that come into the office, Dr. Weller mentors students at Logan College, and I coach them. And one of the things that I talk to them about all the time, because they're always in their head, always in their head, just thinking about what this and that, and it's like, stop thinking.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And jump.
Nike.
Stop thinking. Stop overthinking. And we all do that. We just overthink everything in our lives.
Quit your stinking thinking. We say it all the time.
Yeah. What if we just stop thinking about that? And
well,
really
there was a case in point. There was a student in yesterday, and I said, how things going? She's like, not good. I just took this test. I go, uh-oh, did you fail it? No, I got a C. I said, so what's wrong with having a C? She goes, D's failing. So what if I get a D on the next test? I'm like, you haven't even started studying for it yet.
Yeah.
You're already seeing what's wrong. Again,
that's right.
It's going to be cloudy this weekend. It's going to be awful. Well, enjoy right now. You might not be here this weekend.
Get out of your head.
Yes.
Get out of your head.
And I think, again, as we end this show, one of the biggest things we want to just kind of instill in your headspace is it is up to you. It is when you put your feet on the ground to go, I'm ready for today. Know what I did yesterday? It doesn't matter. And know what I'm doing tomorrow? I'll tell you when I get there. I need to live right now the best way I can.
And remember that you are enough. And it starts with believing in yourself. Yep. If you can't believe in yourself and you can't understand who you are and the valuable person that you are just because you exist, then what are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Sooner or later, you guys go, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Heck, I've had enough of not enough, and I'm ready. Mm-hmm. I'm moving forward, and I am letting go and letting God.
And what's the action steps that I need to take to get there? How am I going to get weller in my life? What does it take to do that? So
today is Spontaneous Saturday. Go be spontaneous. Go live in the now and be on purpose. Tomorrow's Slow Down Sunday and Motivational Monday. Be motivated to make a phenomenal difference this week.
Yes.
So until then, keep your head on straight. This is Dr. Eddie Weller.
And Lisa Jenkins.
You are listening to Getty Weller. Have a great day.
Bright, sunshine.